Hey, True Believers, England Teen here. Now, I've never made any kind of secret about the fact that I am a child of the 70s, a teen of the 80s. Those were my formative years. And anyone who has been around at that time knew that if you were to only buy one comic book series, that series would have to be the X-Men. Let's not get silly. They ruled the 80s and pretty much the 90s and the later half of the 1970s. But if you were to buy two books in the 1980s, one of them would have to be the New Teen Titans. At the time, the only book that could compete with the X-Men, and why not? It was done by the super team of Marv, Wolfman, and George Perez. And while, yes, there were many individual stories and storylines, the one that truly stood out among all of them was the Judas contract. And this storyline really blew me away. Now, I got into Teen Titans a little bit late with number 10, and over time, I was just issue after issue, really just impressed. I love the art, the storytelling. At the time, there was a lot of dialogue in these books. You really got to know the characters even during action scenes, and these were teenagers. I was a teen. Now, they didn't look teenagers to me, but even back then, but still, these stories were so freaking good, especially this last one here at issue number 20. And even if you've seen the animated series, which I like, or any of the movies based on the story, which I like, you are not getting the full story. By my count, you need 13 New Teen Titans issues. You need a Batman and the Outsiders, 5 Tales of the Teen Titans issue, as well as Tales of the Teen Titans Annual number 3. So this was a big story that built up over time. A lot of the movies, you get right on into Tara's betrayal, and it just doesn't have the same emotional impact that the original story does. And if you ever get a chance, I highly recommend you pick up every issue of the Judas contract. It is well worth it. If you start with the books that are just marked the Judas contract, Tara's already a traitor. You're kind of cheated out of the buildup. You're kind of cheated out of the big reveal. The fact that Tara and Deathstroke seem to be having something going on, and it's actually Tara who is manipulating him. There's so much here to the story, and we're going to get into it. It all starts off in the New Teen Titans issue number 28. Now, this is the very first appearance of Tara. We meet her while she's robbing a bank, and she's saying she has to do it, she has to do it. GARE Logan, Beast Boy, who at the time was known as Changeling, tries to stop her, but she's more powerful, so she gets away. And we get some Hive story, because basically, along with Deathstroke and Tara, the Hive do feature very strongly in the Judas contract. Garfield finds Tara again, and he manages to knock her out, and he's going to bring her to Teen Titans Tower where everybody's meeting her, and he's saying, hey, we should help her. And some of them are feeling a little bit skeptical, but Tara lays down a story about how her parents were killed and her brother was kidnapped, so forth and so on, and they agree to help, but Raven stays a little bit skeptical among the group. In issue 29, there's really only one page that deals with the Tara saga. Otherwise, they go up against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and it's still pretty damn cool. Admittedly, Tara's acting a little suspicious here. She's saying, hey, look, you guys, you should be telling me your secrets. And even GARE at this point is saying, we don't know you that well. We'll trust you in a bit, just keep going at it. Issue number 30 is a direct continuation of issue number 29. This is the one where officially Tara joins the Teen Titans. She even sews a new costume to make her look a little less threatening looking. And she feels part of the team for a while, but when they go and they actually fight the Brotherhood of Evil, the rest of the team's like, yeah, we're going to need your shape-shifting powers. Woo, Tara! But when they get there, she kind of feels like everybody's holding back. Everybody's keeping her at arm's length and not letting her in as a true team member just yet. For as good as issue number 31 is, it's a skip, as well as issue number 32. Only in terms of, does it have anything to do with the Judas contract? And we get to issue number 33. Now, you may notice that I'm really only talking about a couple of pages that are dedicated to the Judas contract in each of these books. But still, they're awesome books, and they do continue the story. I think any kind of omnibus or any sort of thing like that should be including all of these. In this case, you have Tara saying, hey, Wally, why aren't you guys trusting me? And he's saying, hey, look, there's holes in your story. When we close those up, then maybe we'll trust you. Issue number 34 is intrinsic to the story. There's just no overselling it. The book begins with Tara on monitor duty, and the group comes in and they're like, hey, happy birthday, Tara. We don't actually know your real birthday, but, you know, we'll make one up. See, you're part of the team. And she's like, well, if I'm part of the team, how come I don't have a seat at the table? How come I don't know who you are? And she says, they say, hey, look, you know, we told you there's holes in your story. When we fill those holes, we're going to let you in. We're going to let you in on the secrets. And she's like, but you guys know what I've been through. And she's like, yeah, your parents died. Take a freaking number. Everybody here had that kind of tragedy. Everybody here. I mean, freaking Princess Starfire here is a freaking slave for a while. So Terminator sends a message threatening the Teen Titans. Tara goes out and fights him. Actually holds her own for a little bit. But Deathstroke being Deathstroke, he does get the upper hand. Realizing that if he keeps in the battle, he might actually end up losing. But by the time he tries to make his escape, the rest of the Teen Titans show up. They knock each other around for a bit, and then Deathstroke makes his escape. Tara just kind of walks off by herself. And this is where we get the big reveal, and little Englantine's head just blew the hell up when we find that actually she is working with the Terminator. It's like, oh my gosh, Englantine, I can't believe it. This made New Teen Titans a must-read. Issues number 35 and 36, while very good, also do not have anything to do with the Judas contract storyline. The New Teen Titans number 37 and the Batman and the Outsiders issue number 5, I think are pretty strong for the Judas contract. In this issue of the Teen Titans, Tara is actually being drawn a little bit more sinister. Things in her eyes and such. She's letting herself go. But we do get a little bit of humanity when she meets up with her brother who's in The Outsiders. Yet she is still, of course, living a duplicative life, lying to him, lying to the Teen Titans, and trying to hide the fact that, in all honesty, she's a supervillain and not the superhero her brother thinks she is. Make no mistake, issue number 38, Who is Donna Troy, is one of the greatest Teen Titans books ever written from the beginning all the way up till now. That being said, it has nothing to do with the Judas contract. I have to admit, I've always thought that New Teen Titans number 39 should be more monetarily valuable. This is the end of Dick Grayson as Robin and Wally West as Kid Flash, who had been around from the Golden and Silver Age, respectfully. The book itself, not too shabby, and yes, it's a part of the Judas contract, as we see Tara basically watching the team, and we see that her little eye camera is taking all these photos and taking all these videos of who the Teen Titans are, and she's reporting all of this to Slade, and you do notice that she's wearing this little nightie, which made people go, whoa, hold on here. Is that teenage girl actually having some sort of sexual intercourse with what would be a 50-year-old man? I don't know. Well, anyway, they decide to go on ahead and do a little training session. Terminator says that she lost her edge, so she goes all out and basically says, all right, really try to survive. And he actually gets scared for a little bit because she is getting just all bonkers. And you'll see her as she's standing there. She's got her cigarette and she's got her makeup. And from now on, whenever she is bad Tara, she's cigarette and made up. And then when she's trying to be good Tara in Titan's Tower, of course, she's not carrying those. And that's how they told the good kids from the bad kids in the 1980s. The rest of the book, of course, deals with Wally West coming in. He tells Tara, I'm the Kid Flash. And he quits. And everybody's like, what? Oh, no, that's really bad. And then Robin decides, you know what, I'm going to steal some of your thunder, dude. And he's like, I'm quitting Robin. And everybody's like, oh, my gosh, you know, which makes Kid Flash feel really good. But they quit, and they go their way. And, of course, Tara's welcome to the team. Wally West giving up his powers, telling everybody his secret is one thing. His powers are killing him at the time. But if you know that Dick Grayson hangs out with Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson is Robin, it doesn't take a genius to go, wait a second, that means Bruce Wayne is Batman. Issues number 40 and 41, once again, while they are good books, they do not include themselves into the Judas contract. And that leads us to issue number 42 and the beginning of Judas contract proper, where they're titling and numbering every book as Judas contract, and where little Englantine became a man. let's just face it, Starfire was a very special hero to us all and definitely could get us where we wanted to go. This is really a character issue where Tara is following around all of the members of the new Teen Titans, getting to know. She even meets Creepy Terry, whom I really didn't have a problem with at the time, but as I got older and I'm hearing everybody else, yeah, he's kind of creepy. Creepy Terry. It's scenes like this, however, that really made the comics great. This is a slow moment. It actually shows a great relationship between Tara and Gar. Of course, for Tara, it's fake. For Gar, it's real. We see Cyborg and Sarah, a relationship they really don't push these days. I wish they did, because this was so nice back in the old days of Teen Titans. And, of course, for Gar, we need this because when the hammer comes down in the final issue, he is the one who truly cannot believe that Tara turns on them. And it's mainly because moments like this. This next scene, however, I really liked because Tara ends up meeting up with Raven, and Raven's having none of it. She says, I sense something in you. What you say you are not. And Tara's like, okay, I see how it is. Bitch, you are mine. They actually made an entire episode of the Teen Titans cartoon based on these 2 pages where Cyborg wants to push past his programming to prove that he's a man who can actually improve himself. Nope, didn't buy this page, sorry. Wonder Girl is the team's brick. She's stronger. We know she's fast. Starfire flying around shooting her blasts. Okay, maybe you've got something. But if you're sitting there face-to-face, hand-to-hand, I've got to give this to Wonder Girl. But Wonder Girl's the one that ends up in the drink. I'm calling foul. And then we get to the sparring between Garfield Logan, the Changeling. I like Changeling. Who likes Changeling? Who likes Beast Boy? Let me know in the comments below. And it's between him and Tara. And Changeling is, of course, able to change into stuff to avoid all the Earth powers. And he's taunting her while he's doing it because that's kind of what he does. But she's getting angrier and angrier. And even Raven's noticing her emotions. And she's like, better calm down, Gar. Better calm down. And then Tara just freaking loses it, gets mad, and actually shows her true colors for a second. And everybody's like, holy poop balls, woman, what the hell are you doing? She turns on the waterworks and the hammy acting, saying, oh my gosh, I saw the people who abused me and killed my parents, and I just lost it. I am so sorry. And Wade, we find out, is watching this, and he berates her. There she is in another slinky outfit, makeup, remember? Makeup Tara bad. Ultimately, it's a good issue to give you emotional connection to a bunch of people that are about to have a lot of bad stuff happen to them. And at the end of the book, we meet Slade's wife, and we see the back of the head of Slade's son, who will, of course, become a Teen Titan in 2 issues. Tales of the Teen Titans, issue number 43, The Judas Contract, Chapter 3, Betrayal. This comic impresses me because we get to see Dick Grayson be the man Batman trained him to be, a detective, because he's sitting around and all of a sudden, boom, in comes Deathstroke. And the 2 of them end up having a pretty good fight. But Robin knows he cannot defeat Deathstroke by himself. He's a team villain. He's been beating up the Teen Titans. So he manages to get Deathstroke to knock him out of the window, where Dick Grayson slows his fall and then tries to make his escape. Deathstroke gives chase. We see that Adelaide, his wife, has been following him. Deathstroke runs into the park after Dick Grayson, but loses him in the crowds. And Slade's wife says, yeah, we got to take a new approach. I know where we're going. Now, Dick Grayson realizes that Deathstroke attacked Dick Grayson, not Robin. So he goes to find the other Teen Titans. He gets to Corey's and he sees that it's been blown apart, and he sees a little bit of a package, and he's able to put together that a package was delivered. It gave Corey a surge of power, and that made her explode and blow up the room around her. So Dick moves forward. He goes to Donna Troy's house, Wonder Girl's house, and into her photography studio, where he finds out that more than likely the way that Donna Troy Wonder Girl was taken was by some bad chemicals being put into her developing formula. And we also get shots of Dick Grayson being followed himself. So Dick goes over to Cyborg's house and once again is able to tell how he was taken out by an electrified chair. And this leads him to the conclusion that he has to get back to the tower. The one that Dick can't figure out is when he arrives at the tower, he sees a column of Tara's Earth. And he realizes, oh my gosh, Deathstroke attacked her and Raven. And he goes, wait a second. Raven would have seen him coming and then slapped Deathstroke around a little bit. But Deathstroke's wife and son is there to help explain, going, wait, you know what you're seeing here. You know what happened. Search your feelings, you know them to be true. And Dick looks again and realizes the only way it could have happened is if Tara was the one that attacked Raven, that she had been a plant all along. Oh, and just as a BTW, I do believe this is the first full face appearance of Jericho. Now, watching how Garfield Logan got taken down seems almost like an afterthought. Like, we're past that. We know what's going on. Let's move on with the story a little bit. I do have to say, though, I am a fan of the Changeling a hell of a lot more than I am of Beast Boy, modern-day Beast Boy anyway. We then get Slade's wife actually admitting to Dick Grayson that, hey, I am Slade's wife. And then we join the Hive, where the Hive are saying, wait, Deathstroke completed his contract, but we don't have Robin. And Deathstroke's like, Robin's no longer Robin. So, contract completed. The Titans are yours. Tales of the Teen Titans number 44, key issue. It's Judas Contract Chapter 3, and it's called There Shall Come a Titan, and the Titan there shall come is Nightwing. So we get Dick Grayson basically standing in the middle of the tower saying, hey, I'm not Robin, even though I'm his exact build, height, and look. And Deathstroke's wife, I believe her name is Adelaide, says, yeah, whatever. Here's the origin of Deathstroke. So we find out that Slade joined Special Forces, and that's where he meets Adelaide, his wife. She is a trainer, so that's pretty cool. I mean, basically, yeah, where would an army guy, somebody that dedicated, meet somebody, if not in the army itself? And we do find out that she is, in fact, one of the trainers. So all throughout this, we're getting a little bit of the story, a little bit of the backstory of Slade being in the military and how they find each other attractive to the point where at one point she says, okay, I'm going to be training you personally. They do this whole thing where it's like, oh, if you're fighting multiple partners and all that kind of crap, you want to fight them as one unit rather than individuals, which is completely different than what I was taught. But okay, I'm not a military guy, so what can I say? Anyway, the two of them do the whole falling in love thing, but Slade being Slade decides, you know what, I need to go and join up in this whole special thing they've got over here where they're going to use some sort of serum. I don't think it's a super soldier serum because, you know, lawsuits. Anyway, the two of them decide, what the heck, let's get together and get married. But there's a problem when you're dealing with a super soldier not injected with a super soldier serum like in Marvel. They're not around very much. As a matter of fact, they're out making lives for themselves, doing missions, becoming big game hunters, and joining up with an old army buddy named Wintergreen. It just happens. It's a thing. Well, one night when Slade's gone, the house is attacked. Adelaide takes care of a whole bunch of them because, like I said before, she is in her own rights pretty much a badass. But then that is when something actually bad happens. She learns that Deathstroke isn't exactly an up-and-up kind of guy. He's also Deathstroke the Terminator. And then we get to the point where we find out how Jericho became a mute. There's a little Mexican standoff between some terrorists and Deathstroke. Deathstroke decides to attack them, and Jericho gets his throat slit. Now, Deathstroke takes out the terrorists and even gets Jericho to the hospital, but Adelaide believes the only reason why that happened was because Deathstroke refused to back down, so she decides to get revenge by shooting Deathstroke in the head. His reflexes save him, and all that ends up happening is he loses an eye. She shoots his eye out. So Dick Grayson ponders all of this, goes upstairs to get dressed, and he's not Robin anymore. What's it going to be, guys? What's it going to be? And he comes out, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, first appearance of Nightwing. You know something weird, though? He's coming down, and he's like saying, hey, call me Nightwing. He's like, Nightwing! And the guy's like, Jericho! I mean, those are big, bold, capital letters right there. They are not talking. They are not speaking. They are screaming their name. So Nightwing's like, okay, but what are your powers? I mean, so far all I know is you can rock a pretty good perm. And so Jericho shows what he can do. Basically, he locks eye contact, controls Nightwing's body, and makes him beat the crap out of himself for a while, and then Nightwing's like, "You're in!" And that's where this book ends, with Adeline watching Jericho and Nightwing go off to war. And that brings us to Tales of the Teen Titans, Annual Number 3, Part 4 of the Judas Contract finale. And the book opens with our heroes on one of those power draining things that really, how does it work? Because everybody's a different kind of superpower. Like, are you drawing more energy from Starfire and Cyborg? Is that why they're in the middle there? It just doesn't explain this kind of thing. And then the team gets the big reveal that Terra is on the side of the Devils. And Garfield's like, "No, it can't be. You must be mind controlled." And Terra's like, "Dude, these are the ABCs of me." Cut to exterior day shot. It's snowing. Nightwing and Jericho infiltrate base. Now here's something I don't understand. We cut to Adeline and Wintergreen talking to each other, because you definitely don't want to stay in the base with your heroes trussed up and where all the villains are. You want to go to the two side characters who, at this point, their story is done. But instead, what we get is actually a very interesting tale about how Wintergreen became Deathstroke's butler, considering they started off basically on the same foot as equals. So there is a story to be told here. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just this isn't the time and place. Save it for a later issue, maybe Deathstroke, because, you know, when it came down the pike anyway. As it is, it kind of breaks up the pacing of the story. So we rejoin Nightwing and Jericho as they're infiltrating the base. Jericho possesses one of the guys in robes, while Nightwing does the good old-fashioned let's just knock him out and take his clothing thing. So basically, Dick and Joseph follow the rest of the group to see the Teen Titans all trussed up. But as they're watching the little hive proceedings, the guy who Jericho possessed starts waking up. Now, Jericho possessed the body, but not the voice. And so the guy starts yelling. Nightwing exposes himself. They end up busting out. And as they're running through the halls trying to get away, they get to Terra, who whirls up a dust and stone wind, knocking the two of them out and capturing them. And Deathstroke, we see, goes down to see what all the ruckus is and what happened. Only to find out that, oh, okay, they finally caught Nightwing. Well, that's cool. And then they bring out the other prisoner, and Deathstroke's like, "Say what? That's my son." Now, Deathstroke kind of protests and says, "Hey, you can't take that guy." And they're like, "Yes, we can." And so Deathstroke walks up to his son. Jericho possesses Deathstroke and uses his body to get Nightwing and the rest of the Titans out of that particular draining machine. And with the yelling of Titans together, all sorts of higgledy-piggledy will ensue. And mind you, with Hive in here, this is going to end 40 issues worth of storytelling, considering you have Deathstroke in issue number 2 trying to take on the Ravager's failure. Now, Terra sees Deathstroke attacking everybody and figures Deathstroke's gone soft because of his boy. She don't like that because she's all Harriet Hardass, and so she decides she's going to kill Deathstroke while the rest of the Teen Titans are taking care of the Hive. And another way that movies just fail this story is that no one has been able to capture the way Terra turns in art and writing, how angry she gets, how betrayed she feels that people don't want to see the world burn as much as she does. Nothing has been able to convey that as much as these books right here. And the tragedy that is Changeling not wanting to believe this, even after all of that he had seen up to this moment, he still gets her to rally up against Deathstroke, believing that she's being controlled. And she's like, "No, you freaking idiot. This is the real me. The person you fell in love with, quote unquote, was a lie." And she just goes off. And the more people try to stop her, the more she just continues to be more violent and just lose her shit, to the point where Raven has to step in and just stop her. Even Deathstroke holds a knife to Cyborg's throat to try to get away. And in the end, the Raven trying to stop her just makes her lose her shit even more, and she causes even more of an earthquake, throwing around rocks to the point where they can't stop her. They just have to get away from her, as she ends up covering her own self in heavy rocks. And this is what defines the character in every instance. She's here to betray the Teen Titans and then to die. That's how they treat Tara now. I do like the funeral, and in all honesty, I do like the fact that they gave her a heroic bust so the brother doesn't have to know what she actually was. That shows a lot of empathy. It just shows good writing also on the part of Marv Wolfman, and as you can see all throughout this video, the art is impeccable. This video is dedicated to Marv Wolfman and the late George Perez. Rest in peace, George, and thank you for the memories. Now, is this one of the greatest stories ever told? Is this one of the greatest comic book stories ever laid down? Yeah, it is. That's how come every time you see a Teen Titans story, it leads to Tara. It leads to the Judas contract. This is just pure comic book goodness. That this read-through, this talking about the whole 9 yards, going through this again, has just proved that it does hold up. What is it now, 32? Dang near 40 years this thing's been out? And it still holds up after all that time. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Let me know what you think. What did you think of the video? Do you want me to go through a bunch more of the classic stories? Let me know that in the comments below as well. I want to hear what you think about this kind of thing. I want to hear your opinions. In the meantime, why don't you click on the video that's popping up right here. It's all about the very first appearance of Doctor Strange, and trust me, you have not seen this one. Every time people think about issue number 1, the first appearance anyway of Doctor Strange, they think the origin. That's Strange Tales 115. I'm talking about Strange Tales 110, the original first appearance of Doctor Strange. Not Master of the Mystic Arts, but Master of Black Magic. So check that out. Don't forget to go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.